The first thing we need to do is look at geometry resolution. I want to present geometry resolution to you. Make sure you're aware of where it's important and how to think about it. Make sure you're aware of the polygon problem. How do you know that you've got enough topology? Hidden costs of organization. The historic rule. How do you work with topology? What should be the rules for you based on whether you're a designer or you're in production? Two different sets. And what are some of the rule breakers, the things that are coming up that are changing the game? So let's jump into that. Now let's save this, and that'll give us a chance to talk about our saving a little bit. You can go to Tool Palette and Save As, and that saves just this 3D model. Just this guy and just this guy. If you had another tool in here, it doesn't save it. But what I want you to do for the class is save your projects. So you go to File, Save As. I'm going to keep Undo History on for now. And mine opens up in another window. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to call this Cert Demo 061513-01. Yeah, don't do that, Ryan. Okay. Successfully saved. Martin is asking about canvas size, and let me mention that when we get into the pixel. That's canvas size is something they've got automated tools for dealing with. So let me present that all in context because it can get kind of confusing. Okay. So now polygons. The polygonal rule, geometry resolution. So we're going to spend about the next 15 minutes really just looking at this geometry sub-palette. This is in the Tool Palette / menu. You can see we have resolutions up and down. And the way that you explain this is that it's the same thing as resolution in your camera. If you want more details, you just need a higher resolution. Just like taking a picture. If you want more crisp edges and more details in your sculpt or in your picture of your family or your daughter on her birthday, then you need to have more resolution in your camera. That's all. That's the primary way to talk about it. As things go on, these levels become less and less important because the brushes are topology independent. You'll see tutorials by a lot of guys that will always use resolution levels. They always start slow, build up. And that's because in the past you had no other choice. You simply had to use your levels because the standard brush does not work at higher subdivision levels. It doesn't, and I can do a quick demo to explain that problem. This way you'll understand the history of it. Right now my model is 24,576 polygons. And you can see that in the pop-up it says polys equal 24576. I'm going to divide this once, and that number is divided by 4 now. I mean multiplied by 4. So it went from 24,000 to 98,000. It's always a multiplier of 4 because just if you ever have to explain this to somebody, each polygonal face, when it's divided, is divided equally. Just like that. So one face always becomes 4 faces. This is, I'm pretty sure this is the Catmull-Clark smoothing algorithm. When I was there, that's what they were using. When they divide it, it also smooths so that the forms get a little softer And the softness is defined by an algorithm that Catmull-Clark developed a long time ago. And if you don't know Catmull-Clark, he's one of the fathers of all this CG stuff, and one of the owners of Pixar. So we're at 98. If I do this one more time, it should become about 300 and something thousand. 393. 1.5 million. And that's enough to demo this problem. I'm going to lower the draw size. And now I'm going to use the, actually, this is pretty okay, but things are good here. I'm able to sculpt some nice form. I'm getting there. Uh-oh. I'm losing control over my form. Something happened. I wasn't careful. Okay, well that happens. So I have to press Alt to push in, but that really screws things up. Oh wow, it's getting wobbly. I'm just pressing Alt to push in. I'm trying to do my best. And it's not working out. So at this point, let me ask you guys, okay, this is a trick question, make sure you're paying attention. What is it that you would use to start to clean up the form? So I'm using the standard brush, I'm sculpting, I'm pressing Alt to push in, I'm pulling back out, but things are starting to get wobbly. So what's the brush that I use? The smooth brush, right? But, and this is really the key, the smooth brush sucks at this high resolution. It's better now than it used to be, but it really sucks. It's not a good brush, so I got to smooth this out, and it's just going to take forever. So what artists used to do is they would work at a lower resolution. So I went down my subdivision levels, and you saw how fast I was able to smooth things out now. And then they can use the standard brush, and they can smooth things out, and they can kind of build this a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, without all the craziness. Okay, so all this smoothing out that I'm doing here as I try to build a roundness, a muzzle basically. Okay, then I'll go up a little bit. Okay, that's not working, so I'm going to lower the subdivision level. Then I'll go up again and build some form and use a smaller brush this time. And now you're starting to see some of what the old timers would do. They just go slowly, and I'm able to get a little bit crisper form, and then all I got to do is just put in a little bit of line work at a certain point to really start to solidify. Now I'm working fast, so you'll have to forgive the sculpt. I'm really focused on trying to break the form more than I am trying to sculpt it. And see if I can get into the same type of problems that you're likely to run into. But you can always lower if you need to smooth something out and go higher. So that's the way that we would use standard brush before. We would really work these subdivision levels. But nowadays, it's totally irrelevant.